It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Radford University's assistant women's lacrosse coach, Coach Heather Conklin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college women's lacrosse?
Yeah, so the original plan was to be an athletic trainer. So that's what I was studying to do when I was at UNH. But then once I transferred, I really started to like lacrosse a lot. And my head coach at Brockport, Steve Wagner, was a really good role model for me. And I, at that point, was like, I really like doing this. And I started coaching club up in Rochester for Relentless Hustle. And that kind of sparked my interest in wanting to do college coaching, and kind of made that decision halfway through college and just stuck with it.
Of course, what was your time like as a player going to UNH and then transferring to Stony Brockport?
Yeah, it's a very interesting process. It's changed a little bit since I was in college and transferred. The transfer portal had tweaks that make it more accessible to student athletes. So my process was different than some people's nowadays, but going from D1 to D3 definitely was a change in speed and just a whole different process from like the way you play and your resources and things like that. But it's kind of stressful because you're still at your current school and you don't have time to really visit other schools. So luckily I knew someone that played at Brockport, that I went to high school with and played with, and she had nothing but great things to say about the program and the team and the people. So I kind of blindly just was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Brockport. I hadn't even seen the campus. I haven't met anyone. And it just ended up working out.
Of course, what was that feeling like coming to SUNY Brockport and getting to put on that uniform for the first time?
It was great. When I came in, the team was really good. They were making runs to the NCAA tournament consistently, and they had really good players on the team that built the program basically and put Brockport on the map. So even though I went from D1 to D3, I went to a really high caliber D3 school. So putting on that jersey, I was super excited because I knew we were competing against the best within D3, and we had pretty tough schedules and good competition. So I was really excited to put that on and step on the field with the team that we had. And you do have fall ball to like get used to your team and the school and things like that. So putting on the uniform for the first game was definitely a really good feeling and super exciting.
Of course, how did that help you to have that D1 experience before transferring to Stony Brockport?
I think it was helpful in a way of like maturity and kind of learning who I was at a different school and like player I was. And then going into D3, it's definitely a different speed and pace, but the way that their program is ran at D3 was very similar to my D1 experience. It was less mandatory time, but there was still scheduled time for you to be able to do things that you did at D1. So it's structured very similar, but it's just named and mandatory in different kind of ways. So it definitely made me more prepared for that type of level of play. And my schedule was definitely a lot more free, which was nice.
How was your decorated career when coming to SUNY Brockport?
It was great. I mean, I got a lot of recognition from Brockport and from the IWLCA. So and SUNY, the SUNYACs, which was the conference that we were in. So I mean, I had a really great time playing. I couldn't have done it without my teammates. Like they got as much recognition as I did. But I had a great career and I never wanted to put my stick down. So kind of why I'm into coaching now too, because I want kids to have as good as an experience that I did and be able to love the sport that I love as much as I do. And I don't think I would have loved it as much if I didn't have the great coach I did and the great teammates I had to make that experience so good.
What were some of your collegiate accomplishments throughout your college lacrosse time?
Yeah, I mean, I hold the record at Brockport for most goals. I was MVP of our first ever conference championship game and win, so that was pretty exciting and cool to have that with the team and be the MVP of that. I am an All-American. I got recognized every year for first team for SUNYACs. I mean, the list really does go on. Luckily, Steve Wagner fought a lot for us and my other teammates to get the IWLCA awards. Sometimes you get kind of shifted on those because other big schools like the NESCACs get a lot of kids on those lists. So if you're not going really far in the tournament, then you might not necessarily get those awards. So he really did have to fight for us to get those awards. But I did very well sweeping wise within the SUNYACs and within Brockport. Brockport, my last year gave me Female Athlete of the Year. So that was pretty cool as well. And they named me to the 2010 All-Decade team. So my school did a really good job with recognizing us as athletes. Our conference did a great job with that. And then the IWLCA, Wagner fought hard for us to be able to get that recognition as well, which was nice.
What was that transition like from you from going from being a player to going on joining the coaching staff for SUNY Brockport and working as the game day operations?
Yeah, so I actually was still playing when I was doing game day operations. I was just doing it for other teams. So I think that it helped me grow as a person and as an athlete and as an administrator. It definitely made me appreciate like the people that set up our games, the people that spoke to us post interview for games, the people that would move our benches, plow our fields. Like I was doing that on the back end for other teams. So it definitely gave me respect and appreciation for when people would do that for our games. And even when we went to visiting teams, like I would make sure our team like picked up all of our bench stuff and that we didn't leave anything behind and we could help when we could and our locker room was clean and we left it cleaner than when we were there, just because doing it as a job, like you appreciate when other teams and people do that. So I kind of took that philosophy as a player, which was nice. I think I learned a lot that way.
Of course, what was your time like as the personal trainer for Midtown Athletics Club?
That was a really cool experience. I was still playing. That was like kind of my part-time job while I was playing at Brockport, but I was in grad school, so I only had to do like night classes. But that was really nice because I had to get certified. So like I was studying for that certification and I was coaching other athletes and non-athletes, and that kind of grew my IQ of how I should be training my body and how I should be fueling my body. And it allowed me to learn how to kind of find my style of coaching outside of lacrosse, because not everyone is an athlete and not everyone trains like an athlete. So it allowed me to be able to word things differently for people to understand. And that helped me grow as a person, because with coaching, not all athletes understand things the same way. So that really helped me be able to process things differently for other people and how they would interpret things.
What was your time like as the assistant lacrosse coach for the College of Worcester?
Yeah, so that was my first job out of college, and they're a very high academic D3 school in Ohio. So I went there and was offensive coordinator, and I was working alongside Liz Ford, which she has a great IQ. She's been in the game for a very long time, and she's a very structured woman. So it's kind of polar opposite of Steve Wagner to her. She was very rigorous and structured with like her practice planning and the way things went, which is great because I loved having Steve Wagner's coaching style and then her coaching style, because then it allows me to kind of find that happy medium of like how I want to coach and what style I wanted. And those girls were great. It's kind of funny, like Brockport's more of like a physical education, nursing school type business around that type of like area versus Worcester's like everyone was in STEM or like doing a really high rigorous academic type schedule. So like it was very polar opposite, which was nice to be able to see kind of like what kind of schools I like, what kind of athletes I like, and where fits more for me. So I had a great time there.
What was that experience like for you to go coach on the club level and become a head coach for the Relentless Hustler?
Relentless Hustle, yeah. So I coached there for about 5.5 years. I was their head coach while I was in school and a little bit post school. And those girls were awesome. I started with them when they were in 6th grade, and they're actually graduated this year and they're going to college. So like being with them and developing them into athletes that are going to be playing at the D1, D2, and D3 level was amazing and really fulfilling to see. I think club was a lot more fulfilling for me because kind of developing those athletes and seeing them grow and their IQs grow and then them implementing that into their high school season is like a really cool feeling. And then seeing them get recognized for awesome. And I still touch base with a few of them today. They still call me up for advice for college and where they should go. And I help them along that process as well. So that was an experience that I'm very grateful for. I thoroughly enjoyed coaching my girls, and I'm really excited to kind of see college and follow them along throughout their careers.
What was that feeling like coming to Radford to become the assistant lacrosse coach?
It was a really cool feeling. Coach Hurley called me up when I was at Worcester and told me she was looking for a coach, and I had met her previously working camps and clinics throughout the summer. And when we met, it's funny, she told me she thought I was already a college coach when I was a player because I would just go with my current coach. And those would be like my summer gigs because he knew I wanted to get into coaching. So he'd bring me along to get that experience. And so I met up with her when we were recruiting on the trail, and she called me and asked if I was interested. And so I came up for a visit and met the girls, and I just knew that it was going to be a great fit. And I took the job. And ever since, it's been history. Sam and I worked amazing together, and I love our team chemistry. I love our girls. They have a good relationship with us, and Sam and I have a really great relationship. So I'm very happy where I am, and I'm glad that I was able to make that jump back in Division 1 because I do like competing at this high level.
Of course, for you, what was that feeling like getting to step onto the Radford's lacrosse field for the first time as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very different feeling stepping on the field as a coach than a player. And I think my first year was a lot of growing for myself. As a player, you can play with a lot of emotions and still use that emotion to be a really good player versus like a coach. You can have emotions, but you have to keep very composed. So it was a lot of learning for me to be able to take my like energy and focus and be able to put that in a way where it was beneficial for the team and not harming us. So I definitely learned a lot my first year. It was a great feeling stepping on. It's very exciting to be out there and kind of see the game from a different aspect and be able to have a different control of the game. It's definitely a lot of learning from playing to coaching, but I love our field. I loved our girls. They fought every single game. So it was a really cool my first year. And the second year was even better.
Of course, what were some of the things that you took from your time as a D1 coach previously to help you where you are now?
I think the main thing is just to make sure that you have a good reputation and relationship with your players and your coworkers and your boss. Because if your boss, so Sam and I, aren't on the same page, like the girls see that, they sense that, and it isn't good for like the chemistry of our team because then we're not on the same page and we're not saying the same things, and then they're hearing different things. So that's the great thing about Sam and I. We're on the same page, and if we're not, we communicate that and we make sure we are, and that we pick which way we're going to go, my way or her way, or meet in between with what we want. That way the girls are getting the same information regardless. So definitely making sure that you're on the same page, and then having that reputation in relationship with your athletes is super important, because if I don't have that good of a relationship with them, then I don't have their trust and I don't have the respect to be able to coach them. And I think that the way we build our relationships with our girls, it allows us to be more blunt and honest with them about what we need. And it makes them more comfortable too about what they need coming to us. That way we're just more proactive and productive on and off the field. And I think that really helps. So I would say that relationship building and chemistry and connection is just super important to make sure that you have that from top to bottom.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've helped to build with Coach Sam?
Yeah, so we came in and we just made sure that the girls knew our culture was going to be a little bit different. I mean, every coach has a little bit different of a style and coaching. So we made sure that they knew, like, we have an open door policy. They're welcome to come in whenever and talk to us about home, life, school, roommates, boyfriends, whatever they need to talk about. Whether they're stressed or they don't feel well, whatever they want to talk about, they're welcome to come in, and they really do use that and take that to their advantage, which is great. We honestly love that part about our team. But we also established, like, you're here for school, so like you need to get good grades, you need to be doing what you want to do. We will work with you to be able to do what you want to do. We allow nursing, which a lot of like programs don't really suggest you do because it does take away from lacrosse, but like we want you to be able to leave here with 4 years of a great experience on and off the field, and to be able to go into a successful career of your choosing. So we definitely make sure that we focus on academics and then athletics, but we do want our girls to be working harder and being successful on the field. So as you can see, we're starting to slowly grow and do better on the field. GPA wise, we've done better every year since we've been here. Record wise, we're doing better every year since we've been here. So we're really just kind of making sure that our girls know that like we're taking this seriously, and that we want them to take it as serious as we do. And they can do that with having a good, happy balance of social life, academic life, and athletic life. And so I think we've done a good job of kind of showing them how to find that balance and being able to work with us and with each other.
What are some of the things that you've been able to accomplish as the assistant coach thus far?
I've been able to get our attack kind of on a really good plan. We stick to our plan and implementing plays. Our girls from year 1 to year 2 definitely feel a lot more comfortable talking to me about what works and doesn't work, which I think is super important. I don't want my team to not be able to tell me what's not working and what's working, because I could draw up a madman plan and think it's brilliant, but some teams can execute it and some teams can't. And you just need to be able to know your personnel, or your personnel know your game plan. And if you don't have that mesh, like it's just not going to work. And you need to be able to notice that, and your teammates also and players need to be able to express that to you. So it was a huge accomplishment from year 1 to year 2 to be able to get them to like trust me that I'm not going to get mad if they tell me like, no, this doesn't work, or this is great, we love this. I think that makes teams a lot more successful when they have that open door, because I want to be able to tweak things to be able to work for what we have skill wise, personnel wise, and IQ wise. Some girls have a great IQ and some don't. So if they don't understand certain positions and places, I need to be able to know that to be able to adjust them, because they're not going to tell me sometimes to my face, yes, coach, like I get it, or I have no clue what you're talking about. And they've gotten a lot more comfortable doing that. But I mean, even as a freshman, like you're scared to admit that like you don't know something, and that's not on them. That's just like, as athletes, like you don't want to admit you don't know anything. But when they realize that like I don't care that they don't know, I just want them to be able to learn and know, then they start to be comfortable. And then that's when you get better, is when you can break that barrier of, okay, well then let me teach you, and like, or okay, that's just not going to work, you're not understanding it, let me put you in a different spot where you can be more successful. So offensively, we've definitely grown more that way. Coach Hurley also like lets me sit on her whiteboard and draw out stuff and be like, yeah, that's great, let's do it, or no, that's not. We kind of went through a phase year 2 where we didn't have really the personnel on the midfield, so we came up with a like rover system. We can keep our players on and they can substitute on the field, which allowed us not to have people coming in and out of the box, which was going to make us man down for a little bit on defense. And that helped us tremendously. And we implemented it in practice. Coach Hurley let me draw it up and she was like, I think that's awesome. Let's try to see if it worked. We don't know if our girls can execute it. Like, you just never know. And she implemented it into our practices and we tried it in a game and it worked great. And we did it for the rest of the season. So we're definitely making headway offensively and defensively. Coach Hurley's doing a phenomenal job. Our defense is super solid. Our goalkeeping is amazing. And we have been very successful on the recruiting trail within the previous year. So we're bringing in actually our first class this year, which is super exciting. We have 14 girls coming in that are all going to be key players and hopefully help us succeed in the Big South. So we're super excited about that, and that we have the personalities and the team chemistry and culture to like bring in 14 girls that actually want to be here and help us thrive. So I'm super excited.
Who are some of the teams that are in your conference as you play each week?
So we're in the Big South. So we play Mercer, Wofford, Winthrop, Presbyterian, Gardner-Webb, schools like all within the kind of North Carolina, South Carolina area. Longwood is in Virginia with us as well. Campbell just left, but we're still going to play them out of conference. Our out of conference kind of fluctuates every 2 to 3 years because usually we return games or they return them to us. So that kind of changes on and off if we agreed on returning a game. So we've been playing kind of out of conference within the Washington area, Ohio area, Pennsylvania area. So we kind of stick within the South Northeast area, which is nice for traveling. And we don't really have to fly, so the girls aren't missing a lot of school. So that's nice as well, that the Big South Conference is within a nice little bubble.
What is that home game atmosphere like when teams like Wofford comes to home versus going away to teams like Appalachian?
Yeah, we don't play Appalachian, but we do play some further away schools like Mercer. Mercer was our longest away trip this previous year. And I do think travel has a different impact on teams because you're tired, they're trying to do school on the bus, they're missing school, so they're stressed about tests and making up things that they're missing, and being on a bus sitting next to someone, having your legs crammed up against a bus for a couple hours definitely can hurt some kids. So I mean, traveling definitely isn't as much of a pleasant experience as like, sweet, we're home, we can sleep in our own beds, we can eat a meal on campus and cook our own breakfast and kind of on our own clock, versus when we're away, we make the itineraries, they're on our clock, and it's a very rigorous schedule. Like, we have to be here XYZ or we're going to be late. So I think the girls, regardless of home or away, they bring the energy, they bring their speaker on the bus, they do karaoke on the bus, they help each other play games and homework and things like that on the bus. So I mean, they definitely bring the energy and try to make it a great experience regardless. They love staying in hotels. They love sleepovers. They all like hang out in the hotel and they DoorDash snacks after dinner and they have a great time. So they love sleepovers. They love going on our Excel Google Doc and being like, oh my God, we're roommates. So they still love away trips. They don't ever complain about them. But I do think the atmosphere at home's better. They like themselves up in their locker rooms. We visited away teams they have in this locker room, and we get off the bus and they play their music and the bus is shaking. They're having so much fun dancing on the bus. So they definitely bring the fire and energy regardless of the home or away. But I definitely love the home atmosphere with our fans and our field and just the camaraderie of them. Like on the sidelines, they're definitely a lot more engaged, I feel like, when we're home, which is nice. Their family comes and visits and they tailgate. So that gives them a little bit more incentive to like show their parents and things like that.
What does that home game atmosphere look like at Radford?
Yeah, I mean, we're very grateful and thankful that our parents are an amazing support system for us and our girls. They do tailgates post game, they do grab and go meals so that our girls aren't eating Panera and Chipotle every single game post game. Their parents will literally come and set up a tailgate so that the girls can fill up containers for grab and goes and have like basically a home cooked meal. Our parents are amazing. And they'll do tailgates in the parking lot before our game and get all fired up, and they'll do tailgates post game where they feed the girls and they'll bring tons of food. I mean, it's insane. There's probably 100 people post game just feeding our girls and talking to us post game, and that's really nice. I think our girls love seeing their family, and their families all hang out together after the game and things like that. So it's a really good atmosphere, and we have a really good family culture, which Sam and I are very appreciative of. If we ever needed something, like, we would reach out and be like, hey, help with XYZ. So, I mean, we're very fortunate that we have great families that not only support us, but participate, and they really just want their kids to be having fun and being treated right. So they really do respect us and appreciate Sam and I as well, which is nice. It's a really good relationship that we have with them.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play collegiate lacrosse?
Yeah, so we just finished our recruiting season for the summer. We're looking at mostly 25s now. We basically wrapped up our 24 class. If anything changes, we have like some flux with that if we want to bring another kid in. We have a prospect camp coming up actually September 16th. So that'll allow 24s, our recruits of 23s, 25s, and younger to come and be seen in front of us in case we didn't see them this summer, or in case they just want to come and be in a smaller setting where we can see them and they can stand out, and then they can also meet our current recruits, our current players, meet Sam and I, and kind of chat with us personally and see Radford in our campus, which is a great experience. So they have that opportunity, and they have so many tournaments and camps and clinics this summer. So Sam and I have been on the road all summer. We actually are on our dead period finally starting tomorrow till the 14th, which is nice. We get a little bit of time off and give the kids some time off because they've been working their butts off all summer really hard to make sure that they're showing their best selves in front of all the recruits. And honestly, it's an intense process these days. It really is. I kind of sympathize for the players because they have hundreds of coaches on the sidelines watching them play, and we have a really rigorous schedule in recruiting. So I might only watch your first half of your game, and like if you didn't show up, like I'll watch you again in the fall or maybe another game if I can catch it. But they really do have only like a limited amount of time to prove themselves that they have the skills and abilities to play at our level and stand out. And if they don't take that opportunity, then like that could have been their one shot. Especially with Sam and I, like we only have 2 people on staff, so we're trying to get our eyes on as many people as possible ourselves, and sometimes it's just not possible. And that's with even seeing 60 games a day for 3 days in a row. And we'll recruit and analyze over 500 to 600 players in the summer, and it's a lot. So I do give credit to the girls that are doing it right now, and I would just say that they really should, if they can, like reach out to the schools that they're interested in, make sure that their schools that they're interested in have not only one degree that they would be interested in, but like their second and third option, because you never know what happens. You never know if you'll change your mind and actually start studying something and be like, I'm not actually interested in this. And then if they don't have your option 2 or 3, like you have to leave or recruit, or then some kids might stay and just graduate with something they don't really want to do, which is a waste of time and money. So I definitely would recommend to them that they make sure that their schools are a perfect fit for them academically, athletically, personnel wise. And I really do hope that they enjoyed their summer and that they can start talking to us September 1st and find a good home.
Of course, what do you look at in those prospective student athletes when going out to these big tournaments?
Yeah, I mean, every division's different and every coach different. Sam and I we are looking for great stick skills. We want that nice IQ, because once they get to us, we can teach IQ, but it's more like fine tuning that we want to teach, and like setting and establishing our plays and putting them into our zone or our man. And what our ride is and what our clear is. So, I mean, we really look for them to have that IQ already. You can only teach an IQ to a certain extent, especially like if they don't get it at that point, they're only going to get so much more. So we do look for girls that might have a higher ceiling and haven't hit it yet, and that we can help hit that ceiling. And we really do want those gritty, aggressive, athletic kids, so that if they have that raw talent, we can be able to coach that up a little bit and be able to kind of rein that into our coaching style and their abilities. So we look for a kid that knows the game and is willing to play and love and works really hard and is a great teammate. We want them to be respectful to their teammates, to the other team, to the refs, to their coaches. Like, we pay attention to everything. We even pay attention to if their parents are saying something on the sideline that's negative or kind of chirping at the coaches or the refs. Like, we don't want that culture. So like, we really keep our eyes and ears open throughout the whole process. Even walking by, if I see a kid with a parent and they're saying something and I don't really like their attitude and their parents and things like that does play into factor for a lot of people. Like, you want to be bringing in good kids and good families. So we're looking at everything from their playing to their personalities to how they present themselves. So it really is all eyes and ears on them for the whole summer and fall. So I would recommend that they put their best foot forward no matter when and where they are.
Of course, for the prospective student athlete looking to come to Radford, what does that official visit look like for those prospective student athletes?
Yeah, so when they come, we have unofficial visits and we have official visits. We really do our official visits with like our commits all together, so they can come and meet each other and kind of start building that chemistry and team camaraderie before they come. So that's really great. We literally added a 24, and the second start added more 24. She was like, who is it? What's their name? And she added them into the group me, and like, they've been talking for 2 years already. So like, it's a really cool experience that we have that, and that our girls are really excited to like be part of Radford and have that chemistry. But what our unofficial visits look like, usually on average, they start coming in the fall after September 1st. So in the fall, we practice in the morning. So we have them come and wake up and meet us at our field, and they watch our practice. And then the girls take them to admissions, and admissions gives them a tour of the campus and tells them all about all the great things that our campus has to offer, the housing, the academic side. So they do a really good job with that. We let admissions do that through campus. That way they're also hearing from someone else, minus like hearing from Sam and I all day. You're going to start tuning things out, hearing from the same people. So it's nice that they hear from people that actually work on campus and work with other people, minus athletes, every day, so that they're getting a different perspective than just like our side. And they know that we're not just wish-washing it with what we want them to hear. They're hearing it from someone that has literally nothing to do with us, and they give them the inside of what lacrosse in Radford and athletics is. And then our girls usually pick them up from there and take them to lunch, and we have like a sign up sheet where girls can sign up, like who's free during what hours and can do it. And they do it on their own. We don't coerce anyone to like sign up. They love taking recruits and getting to meet them. And they will sign up, and then they'll ask their friends, hey, come with us. So they'll go and take them to lunch on campus. I mean, usually the favorite go-to is Chick-fil-A, and they take them to Chick-fil-A, and then they talk, which Sam and I really like that. Like, we're not there with that because they get a sense of like who our girls actually are. They can ask the girls any questions they want. We're not there to like say, oh, say this, this, and this. Like, we have no clue what they're talking about. And that gives them a really good sense of like if they would fit in personality wise, if they get along with the girls, both ways. Because we want our current players to like the girls coming in, and we want our girls coming in to get along with the girls that are there, because that's not going to change. So that I really like about our process. And then usually after there, a different group of girls pick them up at Dedman, which is our facility where all the other sports really are, and they show them the athletic training room and all the great things that our ATs offer there, and they talk about all the great amenities that we have. And then they take them to the athletic training like weight room, and they introduce them to Coach Sam, which is our strength and conditioning coach. And our strength and conditioning room is beautiful. So they talk about kind of like what their schedule looks like in there and what they do in there, and how their schedule would line up with practice and weightlifting. So that's really nice. And then from lift, that's when I'll go into the equation. Usually we meet in the media room, and if we know like, yeah, this girl's like legit, we'll take pictures of them and give them like a nice little momentum to leave with of them in our jersey with a little cross stick in case like they do commit, then they can post it on their social media. We can't, but they can. And then allow them to just like have that and be excited for coming to Radford. And then after that, I take them over to Coach Shirley, and Coach Shirley talks the business and the numbers and kind of sells and seals the deal. And if they love it, they love it. And some commit literally right on the spot. Some are like, let me think about it, and literally leave the door and call us. And they're like, just kidding. Like, I know I'm coming. And then some need a couple of days because they have other visits to take. And that's okay. Everyone's process is different and looks different. And some people know right away, and some people need some time to process it. And some people need to talk numbers with some parents that couldn't necessarily come with them. So our recruitment days, I enjoy them thoroughly. I like meeting the girls. I never would want, and Sam would never would want a girl to commit without them being able to like meet us, our team, and see the campus. That's not really like our style. We want them to be able to know that Radford's going to be their home, because we don't want people to transfer out. We want people to be there for 4 years, and we want them to stay and build with them and gain those relationships and be successful at Radford. So,
As a coach, what is it like seeing those players get to put on that jersey as a freshman for the first time and a senior for the last time representing Radford?
the seniors is really bittersweet. I mean, they put their whole life into it. They put some now 5 to 6 years into playing, and it really is a bittersweet moment seeing them put it on for the last time, because their freshman friends are crying, their junior friends, their sophomore friends, their seniors together. Like, everyone's sad that they're leaving, but it's also a good feeling because you know that they developed into great players and people for the 4 years that they were with you, and you're just excited to see like how successful they were and for their future. And so it definitely is a bittersweet moment with, dang, that's like your last practice and like your last game. And well, they will come back though. Like they will come to our alumni games, they'll come to our games on the sidelines and cheer our other girls on. So it is bittersweet, but it's also a good feeling to see them finish those 4 years and to see everything that they succeeded for on and off the field. So I love the feeling. It's a good feeling. For the freshmen, you're just so excited because they're so excited. They're nervous. They're excited. They want to just get out there. They have all that energy. I mean, for a lot of freshmen, their first game's a little sloppy because they just have all that built up energy of like, oh my gosh, this is finally happening. Like, my dreams, everything I've done, I get to implement it now. But there's no better feeling than like a freshman attacker scoring their first goal. The team gets so hyped. And a freshman midi winning their first draw, and a freshman defender causing their first turnover, and a freshman goalie saving their first goal. Like, there really is no better feeling, and our team loves it, and they hype them up. And I mean, it's something that you really can't match it to any other feeling, because they're very two different complete feelings, but they're both very good feelings, especially as a coach. Seeing it, you get really warm and happy seeing your team excited for other people and your team excited for themselves.
As a coach, what is it like seeing those seniors go on and achieve great things, whether it's playing professional lacrosse in Athletes Unlimited or going into the corporate world?
Yeah, I think that our end goal as coaches is just to make sure that they are successful in life and doing well with whatever they wanted to do post college. If they want to play professionally, like, obviously, like, we're going to try our best to help them do that. And if they go into the corporate world and they're crushing it, like, that's a really good feeling, because you know that you helped with that process and that they had such a good experience with their education and their athletics and academics that they were able to like find that happy medium of, they did it. They were able to do both. And that's a great feeling. And we have kids that are physical therapists. We have kids that are working in New York City at top firms. Like, we have a girl that's working in the NYPD. Like, we have girls that it's just a really good feeling to see that they are accomplishing their goals and that they're being successful in their future. And we love that they keep in touch and they come back and they're like, this is what I'm doing. And we're so excited for them. And we tell them to keep telling us what they're doing. And we love seeing that they are thriving in life. whether it's on and off the field post college, and it's great to keep in touch with them.
What is that like as a coach, seeing those players go on into college coaching just like you have?
It's a bittersweet kind of like serendipity feeling. I mean, it's kind of like, oh, we wish you were still with us, but that's great that you're getting into the coaching career. And I do think for you to want to coach, you had to have a good lacrosse experience. I don't think that a lot of people that had a bad lacrosse experience are like, yep, I'm going to keep doing this and I'm going to keep coaching. So it is a good feeling to know that you gave them such a good experience and that they still love the game so much that they want to also do that for the rest of their life. So, I mean, I think it's kind of a compliment to Sam and I if they do go into coaching, because it shows them and us that we gave them the knowledge to want to do that and continue doing that and to share that knowledge with other athletes, and that we allowed them to keep their passion for the sport, which I think is super important. So I do think that's a really cool, great feeling that they go into coaching if they do.
What are some of your future plans for the Radford lacrosse program moving forward?
Sam and I are trying to build it. Like, we want to be competing in the Big South Championship. We want to be getting NCAA runs. We want to be able to have winning records and be getting top recruits out of the country. So we're just trying to be consistent and build and make sure that we're keeping a good culture and we're starting to win a lot more so that we can start bringing in top key players and that we can start competing against the top teams within our conference and out of conference and with just in Division I altogether. So our goal obviously is the same, I would hope, as any other coach's goal, and then that's just to win and be successful, but while also maintaining our girls' sanity and making sure that our girls are physically, mentally, and academically in the best shape and condition as possible.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college lacrosse?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of collegiate lacrosse?
I would definitely recommend that you should just play with confidence. Like, whether you're wrong or you're right, do it at 100%, because I would rather someone be 100% wrong than be 60% right. I can correct something that's wrong. I can't correct something that you're kind of like half doing. So do it 100%, do everything at 100%, whether it's wrong or right, because if you're doing something 100% wrong, we're going to see that and we're going to be able to correct that. But if you're just doing something slow or you're doing something without confidence, like, we can't work hard for you. You can't teach someone to work hard. You can kind of push them to work hard, but at the end of the day, someone's only going to give you what they're going to give you and what they have. So do everything to your 100%. And we know people that have, that's her 100%, or no, you definitely can go higher. So I would just say do anything at 100% and have fun with it, because if you're having fun and you're doing things at 100%, that's when you're successful, and that's when you enjoy the sport. The more you enjoy the sport, the more success you're having, the better you're going to be and the better you're going to do. I mean, you look at the top players, even me with my career, like, I hold the record, but you don't see the 440 shots I took in order to have the 222 goals. Like, you don't see the turnovers I had to get the cause turnovers. So, like, I think kids these days focus way too much on the mistakes and don't realize you need to be making those mistakes to get better and to make the adjustments. Now, if you are making mistakes after mistakes and not making the adjustments or putting the work in to get better to fix those mistakes, that's where kids get confused, because they're like, well, I'm making all these mistakes, but I'm still not getting better, but they're not putting the work in to change those mistakes. So honestly, like, just making sure that they come in sticks, that they come in with a good go get them attitude, and that they do everything at 100%. That's I feel like that's the advice I could ever give, is just 100%. You got to do it.
What advice would you give those college athletes that are looking to go play professionally, whether it's Athletes Unlimited or the U.S. route?
Yeah, the people playing on those teams have immaculate, insane IQ and skills. They are the best of the best that we have currently in the country. So I definitely would say kids that, like, that's their goal, you do need to put in extra work. I mean, kids aren't getting as good as those girls are by just doing the bare minimum. Like, those girls work insanely hard to be as good as they are. And regardless of that's actually working out or doing wall ball or just watching film, they're doing all of it. They're not just doing one or the other. So like if you want to be competing with the best of the best at that high level, you need to be putting in the extra work all around at all levels, on your IQ, on your rest, your recovery. Like even that's important and people don't think about that. Like you need to be smart with all aspects of your body as an athlete and the sport. So I definitely would highly suggest that those girls do wall ball, do their footwork, do their film sessions, like make sure that they're playing with people that push them. Don't play with people that aren't necessarily taking you to that next level, because you're not going to get better if you're just the best person. You never want to be the best person on the field. And I think that's kind of like some people's thought. They're like, oh, I'm the best. You never want to think you're the best, and you never want to be the best, because that means you have nothing to like get better at and work towards. And that's never going to be the case. Like you're never going to be the best at everything. So no one should have that mindset. You should always have the mindset of, I want to be like that. I want to work like her. I want to be able to have a stick like hers. Hers is way better. She's better at a long shot. She's better at a power shot. She's a better finesse shooter. So it's like, you always want to make sure that you're putting yourself next to someone that you can kind of compete with, because that's what's going to make you better. And that's what's going to make you work harder.
What advice would you give those college athletes that are looking to get into college coaching after their career?
I would recommend that that's definitely something you want to do. It's definitely a passion career. Starting into it, it is definitely a lot of time and commitment, and it's also a lot of mental and physical stress. We have long days. We have a lot of recruiting on the road. We have to deal with 30 girls that have different issues going on, and they're kind of like your babies. So I definitely would recommend that, like, you have to have that personality of, that's what you want to deal with. You want to deal with helping kids. You want to deal with not just lacrosse. People think coaching is just like glorified PE, focus on your sport, and it's not. Like there's a business side of it, there's the recruiting side of it, there's the financial budgeting side of it, and there's the psychological side of it, and there's just like so much that goes into it, minus just like our sport. Honestly, at the end of the day, coaching is one of the lower things that we do and deal with throughout our day. So I definitely would recommend that they know what it entails and that that's what they want to do, and just make sure that they find a good head coach and program to do it with, because I've seen a lot of people go places where they might not necessarily have the best mentors and they burn out and they don't love their sport. So I'm definitely fortunate enough where working with Coach Shirley, we definitely have a great mix of how to handle things, and I still have a lot of passion for what I do.
What advice would you give those assistant coaches like you that are looking to get started in coaching on the college lacrosse side?
I would recommend that they connect with as many people as they possibly can. Connections is huge within our sport. So having those connections, and you can start building that while playing. I mean, if you're the girls that are playing in AU right now, they build connections, and then some of their teammates go and start coaching, and then they bring them on as assistants. So definitely start building your network and your connections. That's super important. You never know who can hire you, and you never know who's going to get what job next. And just be respectful to everyone, and always just keep your eyes open and your ears open around like what's open for the job that you want. Make sure that you pick a school that is going to be comfortable with you, whether that's living wise, academic wise, like what atmosphere they have, what team chemistry, what winning or losing atmosphere. Like some coaches don't want to go into losing atmosphere and try to build a program, and some coaches love building programs. So kind of just like what's best suited for you.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with the Radford Women's Lacrosse Program at?
You can follow us along. I think the easiest way to do it is follow us on Instagram or Twitter, which is Radford W Lax. And we have a link tree in our bio, which then will lead you to all of our other pages, which is like Twitter, Facebook. Our girls sometimes do TikToks and they love that. Our donation page, our roster, our schedule. So our link tree is our holy grail of all of our links. So if you follow along on Insta or Twitter, that link tree's in our bio, and you can be able to click and follow along anywhere and see what we're up to.
Thank you again, Coach Heather Conklin, for your interview, and best luck in your future with the Radford as the assistant women's lacrosse coach.
Thank you so much.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Heather, for your interview, and best luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.